Weatherly, Luke Constantine, James Constantine is your front row for the round 7 final in Suzuki Swifts. Good start then from all three on the front row. Down towards the first corner is Max Weatherly versus Luke Constantine. They go late on the brakes. Luke's shuffled out wide. Here comes James on the outside. He's going to go through on his cousin and try to go through on Weatherly for the race lead as well as we come in towards the chicane. This is great frenetic action. We're 2 abreast, nearly 3 abreast as James gets shuffled out and locks up the rear brakes, trying to get the car stopped and not running into the back of Max Weatherly. It cost him time, it cost him positions. He's now right down in second to last, just ahead of David Watt after a dramatic start to this race. But it is the championship leader, Max Weatherly, the winner from the final here yesterday, leading at the sharp end of the field from Luke Constantine, then from Chris O'Hara, who has been able to benefit following those dramas on the opening lap as they go sideways and slide their way through the final corner. So it's all a lot of work to do now for James Constantine there, who sits in 4th place just behind Chris O'Hara. Arguably, he's got a little bit more pace underneath him, so I shouldn't imagine it would be too difficult to try and get ahead of him, but I wonder if he might use the Joker to his advantage here. Let's see how it works out as we watch the top 2 coming through. Bit of daylight between themselves and 3rd place of Chris O'Hara then, with James Constantine bearing down, and indeed he does go into the Joker. So James Constantine trying to use that Joker to his advantage. What he needs here is clear air in front of him, and that is exactly what he's got. So now he's in clear air. What he can try and do is use the pace advantage that he has for when O'Hara goes into his Joker to then try and get the undercut. He'll be ahead, hopefully, if he has got the pace underneath him to try and get that gap down by enough once the Joker laps have worked out. So then, meanwhile, here is David Watt sitting at the rear of the field. There is Max Weatherly and Luke Constantine. You could separate those 2 by a hair's breadth here yesterday. O'Hara into the Joker then. How's he going to work out with James Constantine? Is he going to be able to emerge ahead? He certainly is. So that is exactly the undercut I was talking about. He goes through and into 3rd place, and now it's Chris O'Hara who's going to have to get his elbows out, but going sideways like that through the penultimate corner won't be helping his challenge, because though it looks spectacular, it's not the quickest way to drive these front-wheel drive Suzuki Swifts. You want to keep them nice and tidy. No sideways action effectively is the quickest way to negotiate these things around this tight and twisty Pembrey circuit. So into the Joker then goes Luke Constantine. Max Weatherly continues on the normal lap. Tyres being kicked up there by Luke as well. He was just pushing the limits. Thankfully, it didn't cost him too much time, and he emerges quite comfortably there in 2nd place. Now, I wonder if he's going to try and use the undercut. Arguably, he doesn't have quite the pace advantage over Max Weatherly as James Constantine did with Chris O'Hara, but let's see what happens then. In towards the hairpin we go, nice and tidy there from Luke Constantine, of course very much involved in the battle for the lead of the championship this year, along with this man, Max Weatherly, who has had a tremendous campaign in 2022. Gravel we go, coming towards the business end then of this race. Now, how is it going to work out once we go on to the final lap? Because that's where Weatherly's going to go for the Joker, because of course he wants to leave it to the last possible opportunity to have as much of a gap as he can over the 2nd place driver. James Constantine there has pulled out enough of daylight between himself and Chris O'Hara, so it's 3rd place then for Constantine, 4th place for O'Hara as it stands. Here is Weatherly on the final lap here at Pembrey for the round 7 final in the Suzuki Swifts. You have to say he has just driven superlatively over the course of 2022. And here he is then on the final lap, so he'll go into the Joker, and I think he's going to have quite a comfortable cushion over Constantine in 2nd place. And indeed, yeah, look at that, 5 or 6 car lengths he emerges from the Joker ahead of Luke. But James Constantine in more drama here on the last lap as well. With Chris O'Hara, they become to blows as he went wide. Did James in that hairpin, came back on to the racing line, and they made contact. As you can see, Weatherly comes across the line to do the double here in Wales from Luke Constantine in 2nd. O'Hara is going to finish in 3rd, or is he? Look at this, what drama coming to the line. James gets ahead of Chris, but I think the stewards will be looking at that one.